Hi, good morning. I'm a little bit Blythe themed this week because I was looking at what crochet items to do and I've got some ideas for the smart doll. I thought, oh, that'd be nice. And then I'm thinking, I haven't actually done anything for the Blythe. Well, I've done a top that fits both Cindy and Blythe, but it's a little bit hard to categorise it for you guys to list. And as we all know, Blythe has quite a large head. So that is why I thought it was time I did a video on a Blythe hat. So I've kept a really simple one. We are going to do, she's here, this is my Christmas present one, my gorgeous red head here, and she is in just a basic pom-pom hat. But it's a great hat. It's easy enough to do even as a beginner. Remember, it's UK terms. They are basically treble stitches of variations, and of course we've got this cute pom-pom on the top. So it does take a little bit longer than with my other girls because obviously her head is so large, so there might be times you want to fast forward, but I do think she looks quite good. Love this tweedy yarn. This is the yarn that I've used. It's a double knit yarn, and I just like it's got like little tweedy flecks, and I thought it looked quite wintry and sort of cozy, which I know we're moving towards spring, although at the moment we've got a howling wind out there because apparently there's a storm on the way. We're quite lucky compared with some areas. We don't get too much storm damage here, but every now and again we do get it. We've lost a couple of slates off the roof, for example, just little bits and bobs that can be seen to. But I know some areas in the country are getting some quite large warnings regarding this, so I'm hoping everyone's going to stay safe. So we're going to have a go at doing this, and I hope you're going to join me in a moment. We'll go top down and we'll get some crochet done. I will see you in a minute. Hi, crochet time, and we have a little hat for our Blythe here. Not such a little hat because she has quite a large head. I think this is one of the reasons I've sort of avoided doing the crochet videos for her hats, because they take a while because of that. So there's going to be certain points you want to fast forward, but hopefully you're going to stay with me and we can have a chatter as we go. Now you can see I've not sewn in my ends of mine already, so I will do that later, I promise. So I've used this tweedy yarn. It is a double knit yarn. I have also used a 3.5, I'm just looking, there's a bit of shadow in there, a 3.5mm crochet hook. I have a pom-pom maker, but you don't have to use those to make pom-poms. My scissors and my needles, which we don't need at the moment. And obviously we've got our gorgeous Pippin here. She's called Pippin. It was a suggestion from one of the people who watched the video, because they'd said Pippi, but then I'm like, my cat's called Pippi. That'd be a little bit weird. I'm just going to move that, see if that's creating the shadow. It's not. I don't know what the shadow is. Hopefully it won't be too bad when we've done, because I'm going to move her out of the way in a minute. So I've called her Pippin because they made the suggestion of Pippi Longstocking. I'm like, yeah, that really suits her, but as I said, the cat's called Pippi, so I decided not to. In fact, I can hear the cat rattling. She's probably thinking I'm calling her name. So we will pop Miss Pippin to one side. I'm going to pinch her hat off her. She's got a bit of hat hair now. I need to trim her hair actually. I want it shorter, but this is I'm really rubbish at cutting hair, so I'm a bit nervous about that. In fact, we'll leave. Shall we have you partially on? We'll have you partially on, and then when we come to trying the hat on, we can try it on her. So it's just a basic pom-pom. As you say, those are the two bits that I've not sewn in. A bit naughty of me, but I will do it later. These are all trebles. We have a couple of double crochets in there as well, and we have a treble rib here. So if you've not done one of those before, that might be a bit weird, but seriously, it is so easy. And then just really nice, cute, sort of fluffy pom-pom on there. So we're going to get started straight away. Please remember UK terms. So if you do need a conversion chart, grab one now, because I know what we refer to as a treble isn't necessarily what you refer to as a treble in your country. Let's just undo a bit of this yarn. I just thought this was really nice, although this, I can see how it's got these little flecks. It's called tweed, so you can see why. I just thought it was really pretty. So we're going to start with our slip knot, because that's how I start all of these. Onto the hook. Well, not if I don't get it caught. I've got that caught on the hook already. Onto the hook, and not too tight. We need a little bit of movement. That shadow's annoying me. I shouldn't really be getting a shadow. I'm hoping when the video's finished it's not going to be. It might be just because I'm looking down on the camera. So we're going to be starting with our 2 chain. It starts like a quite amigurumi sort of pattern really. So I start with 2 chain, and then I'm going to do 6 double crochets into that first one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Don't worry if it does that, we just tighten it up. That's why we have a nice slip knot there at the beginning to make sure you can actually do that. Now we're going to be doing 2 double crochets into each of those 6 next. So into our first one with 2 double crochets, into our second one with 2 double crochets, into number 3, into number 4, 5, and our last one 6. And because we've obviously done 2 in each, we now have 12 stitches on there. Just tighten that up again. You find it sometimes comes unloosened. I don't think that's even a word. You know what I mean. But like I say, we now have 12 stitches. We're now going to move on to trebles. So my first stitch here is actually going to be a slip stitch. Because with the double crochets, we can keep going round and round spiral. As soon as you hit a treble, you can't really do that. So it's like starting again. So I've done a slip stitch. I nearly said a slip knot then, a slip stitch. And I'm going to do 3 chain, 1, 2, and 3. That is going to count as my first treble, and whenever we do the 3 chains on this, that is what it counts as a first treble stitch. Now we're going to do another treble into the base. You can always see where the little hole is there. So yarn round, in it goes. We pull through, we have 3 on the hook, we pull through 2, we pull through 2. So that's actually made an increase because we have 2 stitches in the same space, and we're going to continue that round. So we have 2 trebles in every single one of those 12 that we had previously, so we will have 24 stitches. So off we go. So yarn round, pull through 2, pull through 2, same one. So we now have 4. Quite nice trebles because you can actually sort of see where they are, so you can count them easier. Into the next one, 2 trebles. And again, 2 trebles. Literally just every stitch. We don't need to count them because you can see where we started. There's just no way of missing that. So you don't even need a stitch marker with trebles. Just make sure you do put 2 in. I know sometimes if I'm talking or I've got other distractions, I suddenly go, oh, I've only done 1 in that one. So just keep double checking that you do have 2 in every one, because if you miss one at some point, you would probably not notice it and you can carry on doing the work. But what would happen is then the hat's going to be smaller. Always check on your particular doll as well, because obviously your tension might be slightly different to mine. Your yarn might also be slightly different to mine, and it does make a difference. It might only make millimeters of difference, but you know, sometimes that's enough to make the hat look a little bit weird on the doll. So keep checking on your doll just in case you need an extra length, so you need an extra row, or you know, you might need a slight increase. But this is because this has got a rib on it, it's quite a loose sort of fit, so it's quite nice, so it should stretch as well. Right, we have 1 more of 2 trebles. So you can see what we've got. So because we're here now, we're not going to be doing this amigurumi style. We're going to have to do a join. So in the top of the 3, or as near as, damn it, I don't overly fuss. I like to make sure I do get a nice sort of chunk there, and we're going to do a slip stitch. Right, so I'll do that again. So I've just gone into the top of that chain, pull it through, pull it through. So I've just joined it together. Obviously we need more increases because that is definitely way too small for our girl here. And on the next one, we're going to do a combination of a 2 trebles in one, a 1 treble in the next. And you're going to do that all the way around, repeating it, and it will give you 12 times to give you 36 stitches. But remember, new round, 3 chain counts as our first treble. Now into the base, you can see it's just there, we do another one. So that's actually our first increase because that's counted as going in the same stitch. So that is our 2 in 1. The next one's just going to be a 1 in 1. So that's combination. Okay, so 2 in 1, 1 in 1. Off we go again. 2 in 1, 1 in 1. And you're going to keep doing that all the way around. So you can just say to yourself 2 1 2 1 2 1, or however you work. I know I sort of say things, little sort of patterns in my head as I'm doing it. There we go. So that was a 1, so that means the next one has to be a 2. They're just alternating all the way around, so you don't have to overly worry about counting. Just make sure you do get the alternation, because otherwise you won't get enough of an increase. Yeah, can you see how we're increasing out now? If you get lost, again, it's easy enough to do, because you just look and go, oh, that was a single. Shouldn't say the word single, because I know that does confuse matters. That was an individual, so that means the next one's got to be a 2. It seemed to have got, there's a little bit of yarn there caught. I don't know what it was. I could feel it pulling. So this is a 2, and then this is a 1. And we're going to keep going all the way around. Like I say, that one's caught. Do it again. I had avoided doing Blythe hats because I thought they would take too long as a video. Or, I mean, you can fast forward it when I get to a certain point, because we're going to be doing just some straight rounds. The next one's a 2. So then you can sort of work at your own speed. If you are a beginner, because I did say beginners can do this, and I really genuinely believe that. But if you're wanting to slow it down, don't forget you can slow me down in the settings. Or I usually find the stop, pause, stop, have a look, start, stop, start, all that. Did I say stop, pause? That's the same thing, isn't it? And sort of have a look what's happening before you get going. I think that's sometimes the best way. It is catching occasionally, this yarn. It is an acrylic yarn, but it's got, I don't know whether you can see it on there, but it's got quite a lot of fluff. I don't know whether it's because of the fleck that's in it. Oh, that was a 2, wasn't it? So next one's a 1. And it's catching every now and again on my hooks. That was a 1. And this is looking good, because I should end up with an individual one, which I am going to. There we go. So I'm happy with that. And slip stitch into the top of the 3. So we've now increased up to 36 stitches. Still not enough for our girl here. Perhaps if we were looking at sort of a smart doll size, we're almost there. It does need a little bit more for a smart doll, but we would almost be there. So our next round is going to be very similar. You're going to do 2 in 1 and then 1 1. Yeah, a 2 1 1 2 1 1 all the way around. And again, you're doing that 12 times if you want to count, and you'll get 48 stitches. Our first one has to be 3 chain. And we have to do one in the base. So that's our first one where there's 2 in 1 stitch. So now we need 2 individual ones. 1 and 1. Next one has to be a 2. And then a 1 and a 1. I nearly just said a single one, but it's not, it's 2 ones. That's not made any sense. Let me explain that again. So I've done a 2. And then a 1 and a 1. Yeah, and we're going to just keep doing that all the way around until we get back to our 3 chain again. So we need a 2. We need a 1 and a 1. Okay, keep going. You can see it's getting a lot bigger now. So we have 2 in this one. And then 1 in the next 2. Wool's rolling about. It's getting caught in her hair as well. Let me move her hair out of the way. Definitely do need to cut the hair. I want it sort of, I don't know, sort of about that sort of length, but it's really hard to cut. I need some decent scissors, that would help. Right, so I need a 2 in this next one. And then a 1 and a 1. A 2. We're halfway there now. And a 2. A 1 and a 1. You can see how the tiny little flecks are coming out. I hope you can see that as nice as I can see it. The colours look fabulous. So we need 2. A 1 and a 1. Not many more to go. We have a 2. If this video goes okay and people sort of think it works, I will do more for the Blythe. It's just sort of, obviously, I didn't know whether they would be too long to do. So I thought I'll start with simple hats. I am going to be making a little cape to go with this. Now the cape is going to be quicker, and the cape would also fit any other doll of roughly that sort of 12-inch type doll. Right, that's a 1 and a 1, isn't it? So I was going to do it in this yarn so she can have a little set. I was going to do a scarf at first, then I thought no, we'll do a little cape. I think that would be quite cute and cozy. Should have enough for one more set. Look, 1, 2, 3 stitches are left, so that's right. So we have a 2 in this one, and then a 1 and a 1. Lovely, we are round, and obviously slip stitch join into the top, and there we go. So now we've got enough stitches to not have to do any more increasing, but we are going to have 3 rounds of just treble. So we're just here, we're approximately here, so then we got 1, 2 and 3. We're just going to do 3 rounds. So this is a point, as I say, especially if you're a beginner, if you want to just pause it, you get on with what you're doing, then come back to me when we get to the rib. Or as I say, it's lovely if you will stay with me, because you know what I'm like, I'll just keep chattering. So we have 3 chain to start with, and we're just going to do 1 treble in every stitch. So apart from marking down how many rows you're going to do, I don't think you need to count. Just go for it. You will see the hat starts to curve after a while, and that is when we're going to try it on her head, just to confirm we have got the right enough stitches. Although this is a great time if you do want to check that you've got the 48 required, you can actually count. It is 48, isn't it? I've written it down, I can't add up. There we go, yeah, 48. So this is just a round and round and round 3 times. And again, because it's a treble, we don't need a stitch marker because we start with that 3 chain. I hope if some of you do the hats, I get to see some pictures on Instagram. Please pop some on and just tag me, or Facebook tag me, whatever, whichever social media, if you use social media, pop it on there. Or just pop me a comment below to say that you've made one and tell me if it worked. Tell me if it worked well. It's almost hypnotic when somebody's just crocheting like this. I know if I'm on my own in the house and I'm sort of doing something and I've got it quiet, it makes me really sleepy. I have to be really careful. I'll usually have music playing, or I do listen to my Kindle. That's another one. It's like listening to a story while I'm crocheting. I quite like doing that one, actually. You see, it's already starting to curve round. If you have any other suggestions for hats as well, if there's anything else you fancy me having a go at, I'm not promising I can do them. I'll certainly have a go and see what we come up with. And I'm not necessarily just for Blythe either, because I know a lot of you do have more than one type of doll. I'm very curious to see how long this video takes, but without me moving, I can't see, and every time I move I knock the camera. It's definitely lighter one side of my camera than the other. The light's usually quite good. I think it's because it's so dull outside at the moment. Right, and slip stitch. That was round number 1, and can you see how it's really curving up, make quite sort of cute berry sort of shape when it's like that, but we need to push it the other way, because this is the outside, this is the inside. It helps because you can see that, so you know that's the inside. So that was round number 1. We're going to do 3 chain, 1, 2 and 3. Now remember, you're not going into the base this time, it's into the next stitch, because it's only 1 in each. It does sometimes feel like there's a big gap there. If you're really unhappy with that big gap, you can go below. I know I have done that on occasion, but you do have to watch your sizing if you do that. I think my stomach is about to rumble. Yep, there we go. I've not actually had any breakfast yet this morning. I like to sort of try and get the videos out of the way, and then while they're loading, I can then sort of have a tea or a coffee and then have something to eat. I think I'm going to have some toast this morning. I would be happy to have my jam if I could get in the bottle. I've still got 1 bottle of gooseberry jam from when we made them during the summer. Definitely got to do some more. Oh my goodness, gooseberry jam is just so wonderful. Very messy, but very wonderful. I need to make a bigger stock because I know other family members want some. My daughter made some as well, and they all turned out great. I was really pleased with that one because we've got some gooseberry plants up at the allotment, so we look forward to them. I like gooseberries anyway, but I was really surprised how it functions as a jam and how tasty it is. But as I'm on my own in the house this morning, and I can't get in the jar. So my toast is going to be very plain. Toast and butter's great, but toast and butter and gooseberry jam's even better. Can you see how it's curving nicely? It's quite a nice, relaxed sort of hat to make. I'm like I say, I'm 100% sure a beginner can have a go. As long as you're happy with the treble, I think that is the point. If you're happy with the actual stitch, you're going to find it okay because it doesn't really change much. It will change when we get to the rib, but it's still a treble essentially. Let me undo a little bit of that. Oh, I'm getting caught in your hair again, missus. Let's move it over there. We're almost round. Remember, there's only 3 rounds to go. Well, not 3 rounds to go, 3 rounds in total, wasn't there? So we're on our second one now. So that went quite quickly. Nearly split. If you do split, like then I just caught part of the stitch, which is not good. If that happens, take it out and do it again. It's really not worth trying to sort of get past it because it will affect you on your next round, or it will leave a bit of yarn sticking out, which looks messy. So it's the beauty of crochet. When you take something out or you drop a stitch, it's just one stitch. I know with knitting, obviously, it's a little bit more traumatic than that, but with crochet, it's not. So don't worry about it. Just take it out and start again. The yarn can take it, and it's better to have that. You want to be happy with your finished product. Right, we're round A again, slip stitch, pull together, 3 chain, and this is our last round of just plain trebles. Oh, and it's stuck all together. Well, there you go. So as soon as we've done this round, we need to check it on the head before I go on to the rib. The rib will pull it in slightly. So if it's a little loose at this point, that's okay. If anything, it is good if it sort of moves about slightly on the head, which I'll show you when we get onto it. Can't believe how dark it's gone out there. I know they have threatened. It sounds like they're the weather people are sort of holding us victim to something. It's not their fault. I say threatened storms. Makes it sound like they're doing it on purpose. But they have warned, should we say, not threatened, that there's a good chance there's going to be a storm this afternoon. I am hoping to get out and get some food shopping before. I'm on target at the minute, time-wise, but I do need to finish this video first for you guys. And then I want to take some photos of her. I might have to take some photos indoors of her with the hat on. Can you see? I'm quite pleased with that. It's coming out nicely. Trebles at least grow a bit quicker. If I'd have done it in double crochets for you, then we would have all been asleep by the time I got to the end of it. As much as I absolutely love double crochets, and I do a huge amount of work in double crochets, and if I'm making things quite often to sort of sell certain doll outfits, I would do it in the doubles. But they take too long. That is the only problem. So for the videos, the trebles work. And I think it gives quite a nice texture, to be honest. I like how you get the definite lines, whereas I don't think you see that so much with double crochets. So each stitch has got its own place. I think if you can master a treble stitch in a double crochet and a chain, you can do it all. It's just various combinations of it from then on. Oh, look at that, we're nearly there. So we're going to try it on her head when we get to the end of this, and then we'll start looking at how to do a treble rib. I know some people say you can't rib in crochet. You can. It is different to knitting, obviously, and it looks slightly different, but it's definitely a rib, and it gives you that sort of elasticity that a rib gives you as well. Slip stitch join, and we're going to stop just for a second there, and let's have a look. You need to make sure when you do this, when you do the sort of chain up and everything, make sure your stitches are quite nice and tight, because you don't want gaps there. So let's pull you in, missus, and let's have a look. And what you want it to do is just fit. Yeah, I'm not stretching it, not doing anything. It just fits just comfortably on the top of her head. Will make a difference what hair your doll's got as well. This one's perfect for that because her hair's obviously quite straight, so it's quite nice. Now, as far as the treble rib is concerned, we're going to have 4 rounds. You may want to add an extra one in if you want it to sort of come a little bit lower on her head, but I've done 4 on this one. I'm sure it was 4. We'll soon find out as I do it, and I can compare. Now, treble rib is not as hard as you would imagine. It's a bit different, but it's still a treble, and there is, that's it. If you can do a treble, you can do this. We start with our 3 chain again, 1, 2, and 3, and then these are posts. We call these posts in crochet, and we either go round them this way, or you go in from the back and round them. Oh, excuse me a second. I just had a little cough then. In fact, my throat is still a little bit sort of froggy. I don't know whether I ought to go and get a drink. I'm going to pause again. Bear with me a second. Right, I'm back again. I've got my water bottle now, so if it goes again, in fact, let me move it to one side. The lid won't come off, but it won't catch, but I don't want to knock it over because it's a glass one. So let me start again with that. What I was trying to say is basically you go from the back of the post or the front of the post. You can start with whichever one you're going to do because you're going to alternate. So I'm going to go by going in from the front. So I'm going to wrap, we're still doing a treble, so I'm going to wrap the yarn. I'm going to go in from the front and come out round the other side. Yeah, grab the yarn, pull it through, 3 on the hook. It's just a treble. My voice is still going. Right, so yarn round. So we went from the front last time. We're going to come in, so you can see this is our second stitch here, in from the back, around the front this time. This one's harder to hold than the other. Grab the yarn and pull it through, and we do our treble. So round, in from the front, round the back, pull it through, and treble. As I say, that is the easier one of the 2, so I'm going to try and make this one a little bit slower. So yarn round, and this time we're going in, so you've got to make sure you don't lose that, in from the back and round. Now what I do is, I'm hoping this is going to be clear enough, I sort of just pinch it here, just pinch it, and then when you grab your yarn, if I can do it, it will come through. I'm hoping that's, I'm going to do a few more slow, so I'm hoping you're going to see it. I moved over a bit so you can see it in the light a bit better. So the round the back from the front's easy. So yarn round, in, round, pull. You'll find that one quite easy. The first row's harder. After you've done that, this first row, you'll be able to see it a lot easier. So yarn round, we're going to go in from the back, sort of like keep your finger there so you don't lose that, in the back, around the front. I'm going to just pinch it, I'm going to grab it, and I want to pull it through. So the next one's the easy one, in, round, pull through, 1 and 1. From the back, in, over its front. So basically you need to pull the yarn back through this. So we go in the back, round. I've sort of, what I'm doing with the pinching is I'm just sort of trying to pull the post away so we can pull the yarn through. Yeah, I'm hoping you can see that. It's not the easiest one to do. And it's easy one. Says me, I did it wrong. There we go. Yarn round, in the back, round the front, grab, pull through, through 2, through 2. I mean, the stitch is just a treble. So we're going to just alternate those all the way around. By the time you get all the way around, at least you might have actually sort of gone, oh, that was actually quite easy. In from the back, round the front, pull through. It doesn't want to go through. It doesn't always do that on this back one. That's it. So just loosen it off if that happens. So the easy one, the not so easy one. So second round, you can see where the stitch is meant to be. It's just a bit hard to see it on this first bit. I'm going in from the front and I'm coming in from the back. Front and back post trebles essentially is the stitch we are doing. So in from the front, because you're going round the post, aren't you? In from the back. I think I might have a pussycat in here. Oh, I have. She's gone straight to the windowsill. She likes to sit on the windowsill. I'm trying not to go too fast on this. Again, if you want to slow me down, sort of see how I'm doing it. I have used this rib on a Smart Doll one, and it is just, which one did I do? Is it Smart Doll and Pull Up? I think I did. And the whole thing was this rib, and you do get into it after a while. So from the back. Right, I'm going to do one deliberately wrong now. If you forget where you're going, and I've just done one from the back, and I'm like, oh, I can't remember, is it front or is it back? Oh, well, it must be the back. So I go in from the back again. And can you see what's happened? Now, this is a form of patterning you can use. You can see that I've done two of the same stitch because we've got this bit at the front. You don't get that on the others. So you can see there's a stitch there, so you know you've done it wrong. So take it out. It's only one stitch, and off we go again. So it is from the front we need. Yarn round from the front, pull it through, and pull it through. In from the back, round, pull it through. My stomach's rumbling again. Can you see what's happened there as well? I like to make the mistake so you can go, oh, that's okay, I can make a mistake. Take it out. Yarn round, in from the back. This is why you need to nip it, because you've got to try and pull it through there. If it's a stitch, sort of if you're struggling perhaps to see mine or something, there'll be loads of other people that are doing treble ribs, so you might find somebody else who's a bit clearer, or you might understand them a bit better. So have a look on other YouTube channels as well. So from the front, I've got the cat and the dog now. So whether they start chasing each other, that's no problem, sits in, because the cat gets a bit scatty then and it's everywhere. So hopefully, can you see? Can't see it very well. So when I say I nip it, I'm nipping it here just to pull that post away, because we need to come through there. I'll put it back on my hand now. Oh, the dog's got on her bed now. The reason she's done that is only because of the cat, because the cat likes to sleep on the dog's bed. Oh, no, again, you know, when I said about two the same, you look at them. That means I've done two from the front. So take it out. And I now know it's from the back. It took me ages to work that one out. I kept doing it wrong. I'm like, is it front? Is it back? Is it front? Is it back? So just take your time. If you don't want to do the rib, you don't have to. Just carry on doing the rows in just trebles. So remember, we're doing 4 rows of rib, so we're almost at the end of them. This first one is the worst. It's like doing the foundation row of any crochet. It's not so great. You get past it and you'll see where you're going. So don't over worry about it. Try and sort of persevere through this, because we're almost there now. And then on your next round, you will be able to see a little bit better. So I will sort of show you when we get to that round. And our last one. Ta-da! So we're round. We still need to do a slip stitch join. Remember that was a 3 chain, so we need to pop in there. And that's our first round of the rib. You can't really see its definition now, but you can see this bit sticks up, this bit doesn't. This sticks up, this bit doesn't. So that is how you're going to work out your stitches next. So 3 chain, 1, 2 and 3. My stomach's still rumbling. Now, because that one sticks out, it's sort of quite obvious we're going to go that way, because that makes it easier. The next one sort of sits back, so that means it's a back one. But it's a little bit easier to get round. So you go in, round, pull it through. Then this one's got to be a front one. The fronts are so easy. And then this one's got to be a back one. But the back pulls through easier now that we're on this second round. So I'm just going to carry on doing this. I'm not particularly going to count or anything. So I don't know whether, let's say you're going to pause me and fast forward, etc. at this point. I will just carry on going at this pace, and then that gives you the option to sort of alter it as you wish from there. But after this row, what's a cross between a row and a round? It's a round. We're going round and round. After this round, there is only 2 more rounds to go. That's not much, is it? It's not actually many rounds to the hat, not in total. It's just that there's quite a few of them because of the circumference of her head. Oh, this wool is going all over the place. Got the curtains shut in here. That might be the other reason. Because I shut the curtain when I'm doing the face part, because obviously you get a reflection otherwise. But I don't really need to have shut the curtains for this. Don't know why I left them shut. I was just, the only reason I looked up at the curtains then was I was just wondering whether it was actually raining yet or how windy it was getting. So I looked up and I realised I'd still got the curtains shut. That could be why we're getting a bit of a shadow. I'm just looking down at what the dog is doing a minute. What are you doing? Come out. And so they're both in here now. And so there's nothing there for her to scrounge for, because I've not eaten anything this morning. So I don't know what she's rummaging around down there for. She sounds like she's eating something. What are you eating? There's nothing down there. Excuse the dog. Though she might have brought one of her biscuits up. For some reason, we put a bowl of biscuits out for her as well as a food. Dog biscuits, that is, not our biscuits. And she won't stand and eat them from the bowl. She has to pick them up, take them to another area, one at a time, and then eat it. She must burn more calories walking backwards and forwards than actually eating the biscuits. She's still rummaging around. There's no food up here, definitely. Unless my son was using the room yesterday to do some of his model stuff. He was painting some figures up. So unless he's brought something up and he's dropped it, that could be the answer. She's definitely snuffling around. Holly, stop it. I said, I don't know about you, but I felt that round went a lot smoother. If you can master the rib, it's great for edges, great for sort of adding to detail. Watch this last stitch, because it's very, there is a stitch there. Remember, the chain's there, but this one's really, because you go, oh, I've finished. You haven't. Don't miss it. It's very easy to miss. I've done that loads of times. So we have now got our 2 rounds. We're going to join with this slip stitch. We have 2 more rounds to go. So 1, 2 and 3, we always start with that chain, and you can see the chain lines up with this one, and this is our first one here, and obviously it's from the front and round. So if it sticks out at the front, you go in from the front. If it doesn't, you go in from the back. It makes quite a chunky rib. I think a knitted rib is far finer. It's more delicate. I mean, if you do knit as well, you can actually go from one to the other. I mean, there's absolutely no reason for not doing that. You can have a mixture of knitting and crochet together. Oh, I'm just wondering whether you heard that. That was a really loud stomach rumble. Oh, that's because I got distracted. Take it out. Practice what I preach. That's what I should do. If it goes wrong, don't try and fiddle about with it. Just take it out. And off we go again. You can see how it's forming, so you get your definite lines of your rib. If you're not getting those lines, it means you're somehow alternating the stitches wrong, so keep an eye on that. If it sticks out, you go in from the front. If it doesn't, you go in and around. So you're always going around that post, so it goes in there and round, so you can see the post is there. From the back, if you want to look from the back, you can see the post is there. I'm really hoping you're not picking. You shouldn't pick it up. I know my stomach's rumbled before. It doesn't pick it up because I've got this little tiny microphone thing, and it supposedly blocks out any most external noises, unless they're very loud, of course. So I'm hoping you're not gonna pick it up. It's just been one of those days. I wanted to try and get sort of like I've been doing recently, sort of the 3 videos out of a morning on a Friday, and then by the time I've put them together, photographed, etc., etc., I can sort of release one a day from there, or maybe 2 a day, depending on what I feel like. So that's why I'm determined to get them done. And we're nearly there, Miss Pippin, although she's already got a hat. I think this one will probably be going on my website, or I might put it in my Dollycon box actually. So I've got Dollycon again in July. Feels like it's been a really quick one, this one, because obviously last year's was delayed, so we ended up having it at Halloween, so it was the end of October, but it's usually in July, so it's been reset to its normal date now, but obviously that's not left as a big gap between the two. So I do actually need to get some items made. So I think it might have to be my Dollycon box. I'd like to do this hat style in some other colours. I do like this tweed. I might see whether there's other colours in the tweed. I can't remember. It was just the green that attracted me, because I do like green as a colour. So that is why I went with it. Nearly there. Couple more stitches, and then we've only got one more round to go. Thankfully there's only a couple of threads to sew in as well. There's only the starting and the ending one. Don't forget, we don't want to miss a stitch here. It's very easy to miss it. Top of the 3. Pull that tight. When you do that, just pull it and make sure it's okay, because if it's loose, it'll look loose on there. 1, 2 and 3. And from the front. Like I said, when you get into a rhythm, you'll realise it's going to be the same for every round. So this is our last one. If you feel you need an extra one, like I mentioned before, it depends on how far you want it to come down the forehead. This is okay for me. This is where I want it. But if you wanted it, oh, that's a noisy motorbike going past now. If you want it a little bit lower, you would have to add an extra round in, or you could have just had an extra round in where your just plain trebles were concerned. Entirely up to you. So I had 3 rounds of plain trebles. and I have 4 rounds of rib treble. And sort of you obviously lengthen or shorten, because sometimes it looks quite cute when they've got a funny little sort of hat on top of the head, doesn't it, rather than fitting on the head. The one thing I like about the Blythes or Fakey Blythes or that sort of type doll is you can make more cutesy or silly outfits, sort of more fun. Whereas I know, like with the Smart Doll, yes, I have made silly hats with Smart Doll, but on average I think it's sort of more of a fashion doll, and I don't think it sort of works quite as well with the sort of silly sort of cutesy. I mean, with these you can do absolutely anything. Although this is quite a somber hat, I suppose. This is just a standard, going out in the cold sort of hat. If you put in images on Google, there's some amazing designs that some people have done, and they take a lot of work as well when they like that. I mean, you can see how long it's taking just to do a basic pom-pom hat for the doll. So when you're having to put more details on, they do take quite a while to do. But we're almost there with the pom-pom hat. Not the pom-pom maker's there. About halfway now. And then we will double check the size. I'm pretty sure it should be okay. And then we'll have a little look at the pom-pom. I'm not going to do any sewing up with you because obviously there is just the 2 strands to sew up, so it doesn't take much. It says me who didn't sew it up on the other one. Definitely feels easier when you've done a few rounds of the rib. You sort of get into the flow. So we're almost there now, look. Couple more to go. In fact, literally a couple more. There was 2 stitches, so we've got 1 and we have 2. And slip stitch join. And that is it. Should we double check first? Before you fasten off, always double check. Now I know this is the size I did, so I know I'm going to be quite happy with that. But look, ta-da! I think that fits quite nicely on her head. So that is with 4 rounds of the rib. So I'm quite happy with that now. So let's snip. And let's just pull that yarn through. And the hat itself is finished, apart from just sewing in the 2 ends, of which I'm just going to shove in there, like I did with my other one. So that is the little hat. Now, as far as pom-poms are concerned, you don't have to make a pom-pom. That's just a beanie hat. She can just have it as a nice little beanie hat. Now, this is my preferred method of pom-pom making. It's a clover pom-pom maker. Now, the size I've used for this one, it says 4.5 on there. I don't know what that means. 45. Is it millimeters? It might be, because that'd be what, 4.5 centimeters. So I think that must be 45 millimeters. And I quite like this one. I just like the way it comes apart, the way it holds everything. But there are lots of different pom-pom makers out there, or you could just go old school on some cardboard, or just wrapping around your fingers. There's lots of different ways you can do that. I'm just going to quickly show you part of this. I like this. You have to hold one bit, but then so we're going over one side. I'm just making sure they sort of lining up as we're going to start with anyway. Then I can just go round and round and round and round. It just holds it in place. You need to make sure that we're going to really fill that pom-pom up, otherwise it's going to be loose. It's quite easy with a double knit yarn. If you're using a finer yarn, it takes forever. So you can see how it's sort of starting to sort of flatten at the bottom there. And a couple more to fill all those gaps in. Yep, So I'm sort of quite happy with that. Maybe I could do with another bit, but that will do for now, because I'm obviously really only demonstrating. These scissors are terrible at the moment. I really do need to get some new scissors. Every pair of scissors I pick up are a little bit blunt, or I need to find out how I can sharpen my scissors. So again, from here, you need to hold this little bit to start with, because you need to make sure these are side by side. And I'll just go for it. Got a nice fleck of red in there. I know I have made pom-poms various different ways, but I do think these have worked out the best. I've got 3 different sizes on these, so I can use them down to the small ones as well. I just think they make a more compact pom-pom. You know, when I was little, obviously, we did it where we had 2 rings of cardboard, and you go round and round and round and round, round forever, it felt like. And then you did your cutting and sort of positioning from there. This is just a modern, updated version of that, really. Just makes it a little bit easier. Right, I'm going to say that'll do. It's cutting yarn, actually, that damages my scissors. But, yeah, that's what I mainly do, isn't it? Right, so I'm just now going to cut along. So you can got this ridge, so it's quite nice. It helps so you hold your scissors into position. That's one side. And then the other side. There'll always be the odd bit you need to trim off, though. And let's cut a nice long piece. Make sure the yarn that you're going to do this next bit with is strong. If you've got a yarn that will just snap, it's not going to work. But again, it goes in these grooves. Turn it over. And we pull it nice and tight. This is why I say if it's a yarn that's going to snap, it's not going to do you any favours. And I'm just going to go round into a knot. If you can go over a couple of times if you want to, but like I said, for now, I'm just going to do that. So I'm pulling it quite tight. You can see I'm pulling it tight, and it has held. The acrylics hold better. Some of the real wools do actually. Oh, what have I got there? I've just not cut that little bit. Can you see I've not cut there? I'm hoping actually that is not. What have I done? I don't know what I've done. That's because that's not going to be tight now, because I didn't cut it properly. Oh well, we'll see how it goes. I can make another pom-pom after the fact. There's me going, oh, it's ever so easy to use these, and then I do it wrong. But basically we have a pom-pom. My pom-pom's not tight enough now because I'd not trimmed that one bit, but I'm going to do it again. So I'll just trim off some bits. I say this is what doing damages your scissors, and then as you can see, your scissors don't like cutting. And we can add our little pom-pom to our hat. So that is it. That is our little hat for our Blythe. That does take a little bit longer than our other girls because their heads are larger, but she does deserve a hat as well, and I think she does look quite cute in that. So that's the end of that one. Please pop, as I say, any comments or suggestions perhaps in the bottom there, or whether there's anything else you think you'd like me to make, or I will try and make. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, share. You know all the things to do. And thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye for now.